Hey guys, let's get right into it. It's Friday and we are going to be tackling riffs, how to break them down, what the scales are to help you make those little pieces of riffs, and how to put it all together and break it down into a nice solo that we're going to do from Postmodern Jukebox. So let's get right into it. Let's start with some bubbles because we just want to make sure that we are moderating the breath. We don't want to have too big of a breath. We want to have everything connected to the core. So start with that good breath cycle. We're going to start with that exhale, fill in, hold it firm all the way around, front, side, back, and out in a nice controlled hiss. Let's do that same thing on just an up and down 5-scale bubble. Put your hand on the front of your abdomen. Make sure that you are pushing out against that hand so that you make sure that all of your muscles are engaged there. And then really quick, we're going to go through on an ooh to make sure that you're keeping everything on one stream of air. That's the key with riffs, is making sure that everything is all on a single stream. Otherwise it starts to be very choppy and mechanical, and we don't want that. We want everything to feel like it's an extension of our emotion, right? So when we belt because normal volume, normal sound cannot contain our emotion. When we riff, it's because song cannot contain it. A single note cannot contain the depth of our emotion. So we're gonna make sure that we are putting all of that into one long stream to get that riff to come out just perfectly. So we're gonna, just to kind of get that feeling and that placement, it should be resonating here on the inside of your teeth into that top of the front of the roof of your mouth, and kind of just bouncing around inside your mouth. So just on an ooh. Forward into the forehead. And just two more of these. And then just one for flexibility and speed. Let's take this one in the middle of your range. Our goal when you're listening to yourself is to not hear a click in between each one. Me. We want it to be one long stream of air. That's what we're practicing today because we're working on our riffs. Me. And I do like to think of it as a cycle or a wave. That is a lot of the way riffs are constructed, which is one little chunk of hey, 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 and they just come one on top of another. So if you want to think of them in pieces, me, that's absolutely fine, but keep it on one stream of air. All right, let's take it up. Me, nice and relaxed in the jaw. Pressure off. So your vocal folds are going to press against each other in different strengths, right? When we belt, ah! When we growl, ah! It's hitting against each other very percussively. When we mix, ah! They're making even, easy contact. When we have a breathy sound, ah! So if you make that HA sound, you can physically feel that air going in between your vocal folds, and they're not making a lot of contact. They're just kind of vibrating, and they're not necessarily touching each other that dramatically. So if you back your pressure off just like that, if you make it a little more breathy, you may find that you can go a little faster. So let's try that again. We're gonna go at speed, back off your pressure, and once you feel like you've got that flexibility, put more pressure on. Take it to your mix, take it to your belt. So here we go. Let's try it on a light pressure. That's it. So today, because we're talking about how to create your own riffs, we're not going to focus so much on flexibility. I have another workout from last week that's up on IGTV on how to work your flexibility with lots of exercises to help you get fast and agile. This workout today is going to talk about getting those scales in your head. Now, there's a lot of people that do this naturally because they've listened to a lot of this kind of music, whether it's music that their parents listen to, whether it's going to church, whether it's listening to what's on the radio and practicing it to themselves. And you start to get those little chunks. Here's how it goes. These are the pieces that I like from this artist, this artist, this artist, and put them together. If you don't have that library, that's what we're working on today, is how to establish that library and start to make riffs of your own. Riffing is supposed to be an extension of it, emotion, as I said, right? So when we speak, if we can't contain that emotion in regular speech, we sing. We have to sing, we have to express it in something bigger. If we can't contain it with singing, then we have to add to that singing. So that's belting, when we have to go to a huge volume. And it's riffing when we can't contain it in a single note, we have to explode that note into fireworks. If you're using somebody else's fireworks over time, that gets really tired. So we're gonna learn how to do it ourselves today, focusing on 2 scales. These are both pentatonic scales, 5-note scales. Normal scale is a diatonic scale, 8-note scales. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. A pentatonic scale skips some of the notes, and that's what riffs are almost always based on. It sounds like this. On a half note, then we're going to double time it, take it to a quarter note, then we're going to take it to 1/8 notes. So here we go, 2 beats on the first round, 1 beat on the second round, and then half a beat on the third round. In pop music, and you might have heard it in pieces of The Little Mermaid. There's a lot of popular music, a lot of commercials that use that. And don't necessarily use it as a riff, they just use that little piece because that's part of classical music as well. We use that pentatonic scale. In you might have heard it in like a sunrise piece. Put that into our riffs, it makes it start to make sense, okay? So, excuse me. So I'm gonna take that number 1 note, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna take that number 1 note and I'm gonna put it on the top to make my 5th note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I'm gonna take that number 1 note and I'm gonna put it on the top to make my 6th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's take that nice and slow on half notes, 2 beats for each one. Now faster. So now when we take that little piece, it's already starting to sound like a riff. If we start to do those in triples, we have the start of a riff right there. high notes. La, 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 la. We're gonna do 3 notes at a time. At the end of each 3-note fall, we're gonna come up 1 note and do another 3-note fall. So it'll go 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, and keep cascading down until we get to the bottom. So here's our top note. I'm gonna go nice and slow, so let's go through this riff. I'm gonna do it on a hey because that's my favorite riffing syllable. So here we go. Hey! One more time with me. One of the reasons that I'm going to pulse on that top note of each group of 3 is it helps give me the steam to kind of power through that run. So I'm going to go hey, 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 hey. And I am going to use a little bit of a growl this time. Let's speed it up. Hey, 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 hey. Now I'm going to try some different patterns. So I might do hey, hey, and do some fast and some slow. Hey, 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 hey. So now I've got 2 distinct patterns still using the same scale. All right, let's play a little bit with a minor pentatonic scale. And this one is even more common for riffs because typically blues music is bluesy because it's sad, and minor is often associated with sadness. We have this happy pattern that we use in major scales. Minor has a sadder emotional connection. Right? So if you're hearing a major scale as you're walking down the aisle, yay! If you're hearing a minor scale, things are not going to turn out well for you. You might be in a horror movie, right? So when we do this minor scale, it's really well suited for sadness, for darkness, for the things that we sing the blues about. Somebody left me. My life isn't turning out the way I want it to. I'm feeling a lot of pain. I really need to express that. So here's the minor pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's already starting to sound familiar, right? So let's do that one right off the bat, 2 beats on each note, and then we're going to transition to 1 beat and then a half a beat. Now double. Now double that. Now same thing, if we take that bottom note, if we call that do, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and we put another do at the top or another 1 at the top, we get 6 notes out of that 5-note scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's our pentatonic scale, so let's try adding that top note. Let's take triples without stopping. And now let's go a little faster. Let's change the emphasis. Those two scales. There's a couple ways that we can add little pieces of riffs if you're not familiar with riffing. So we can do bounces. That's one of my favorite things. Hey! So we bounce on each one. Hey! And we're just going to kind of feel that in the chest. Hey! And engage with that abdomen. So if you want to put your hand on the front of your tummy, hey, and then you're gonna just roll right into whatever riff you do. So I'm gonna use this same riff of the triples. So I'm gonna bounce 3 times to start and then roll down into that riff. Hey! Experiment and use your own pressure. So if you need it to be nice and breathy, just to be able to get the flexibility, hey, right? Or not go as far. However you need to do it. If you want to belt it, whatever you need to do to change your pressure and find that balance between speed and power. All right, so then we also have the slide up. We call that in classical music, bel canto music, we call that an appoggiatura, where we're going from a lower note quickly to a high note. Hey! When you're riffing, take your time. And again, lean into that belly, lean into that body. Hey! So let's try that. Slide up into a bounce and then rolling down into those 3-note waves. Hey! There you go. Let's talk about a turnaround. So turnarounds are just really quick little hey, from one note to the one above it to the one below it. Hey. So we're gonna add in a turnaround. Hey, into that slide. Let's try that. Keep it nice and forward. You should feel it right here in the eye teeth. Hey. We can also do a turn down. Hey, and so let's try a different variation. If we're gonna do a turn down, let's slide up to a higher note. Let's try it. Hey, I like to add in a little yeah, because for me that helps me to get it nice and forward so that it doesn't go back in my throat and start hurting my larynx. So let's try that again. We're gonna do a turn down to a slide. And let's throw that bounce back in there. And do triples coming down. So let's do that turn down, hey, into the slide. Hey. Let's try, we've been doing 3-note falls. Let's try 4-note falls and see what that's gonna sound like. So it's gonna sound like this. Let's try it again, nice and slow. So once you know those 4 notes, to me, they don't flow as easily as the triples, but you could do a triple into a double. sound of the odd number intervals, 3s and 5s, are more pleasing, but we can create that by a 3 plus a 4, right? Right? And so we're just trying some different ways to get between those notes. Let's try a 5-note fall. Let's see, did I do 5 notes? I didn't. Hey, it's kind of interesting. It does not lend itself to runs, but you could do it with hey. So I did a triple. I did a slide back up, and then I did a 5-note coming down. Hey, hey, yeah. So when you're feeling comfortable, go back and take this exercise from the top. Feel that regular pentatonic scale, the minor pentatonic scale. Get comfortable with it. Try 3s, 4s, 5s in whatever combinations you want to. Let's take a look at one of my favorite songs that has a great riff in the middle of it as our last little chunk. This is the postmodern jukebox version of Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. I love this piece because it's got great riffs all the way through it, especially in the second verse. So it goes, let me get in the right key. Pieces together. Let's break it down really quick and see what he's doing. So one of his riffs that he uses all the time, he's doing a 4-note riff, a 4-note fall on a pentatonic scale. Never miss a beat, I'm landing on my feet. So he does that twice, but on feet, we're gonna do a turnaround. Feet, feet. So we're gonna do that twice. I never miss a beat. Nice and light and keep it right here in your eye teeth. And then we do that little turn again. And that's what they don't, followed by a 3-note fall. See, and that's what they don't see. Oh, oh, that's what they don't see. So every time he uses that 4-note fall, he ends it differently. First time, clean. I never miss a beat. I'm lightning on my turnaround. Feet, and that's what they don't. 3-note fall. See, oh, oh, little add. That's what they don't. 3-note fall. See, turn around and jump up. Yeah, that's what they don't see. And then we go back and we do that same riff again. I'm dancing on my own. We're gonna do that fall again, but we're gonna turn around at the bottom. Go, oh, and he does these little 50s glottal grabs in the middle that are gonna help you kind of navigate between those notes. They help me too, so I'm gonna just pop those in. Go, oh, just a little stop in the middle. And that's what they don't know. And then the last one. I'm gonna float that top one. You could belt it. No, 5-note fall. Turn around and end up in the middle. No, So let's take that nice and slow. From the beginning of the second verse, again, this is the postmodern jukebox arrangement of Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. So we're gonna do that 4-note fall. I never miss a beat. You go. Now we're gonna do a turn. I'm lightning on my feet. You go. And that's what they don't see. 3-note fall. You go. Now longer riff. That's what they don't see. You go. Same simple riff. I'm lightning on my own. You go. I make the moves up as I 4-note fall. Go. Oh, oh. You go. And that's what they don't know. Oh, oh. You go. Now the high one, float that top note if you need to. That's what they don't know. 5 notes down and turn it around. That's what they don't know. Ready? You go. Yeah, let's try the whole thing all together from the beginning. I never miss a beat. I'm landing on my feet. And that's what they don't see. Oh, oh, that's what they don't see. Dancing on my own. I make the moves up as I go. Oh, oh, and that's what they don't know. Oh, oh, that's what they don't know. So now last time, let's do it, and I want you to play around with when are you gonna float, when are you gonna be breathy, when are you gonna use a little bit of a growl, try some different pressures and see what happens. Enjoy this. This is such a joyful song, so I want you to slide into it, try using your own turns, make it fun. The first one's simple, more and more and more complex as we go through. I never miss a beat. I'm landing on my feet. And that's what they don't see. Oh, oh, that's what they don't see. I'm dancing on my own. I make the moves up as I go. And that's what they don't know. Oh, oh, that's what they don't know. I keep moving. Can't stop, won't stop moving. Look, I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. Players gonna play, 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 play. Haters gonna hate, 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 hate. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake it off, shake it off. Heartbreakers gonna break, 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 break. And the fakers gonna fake, 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 fake. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake it off, shake it off. Check out Postmodern Jukebox version of all the great pop songs. You're gonna hear lots of fantastic riffers, and then catch me right back here on Friday at 2 o'clock next week.